But what we want to do now is I want to find the equation. So I want to find the equation of the line that contains the median from B to AC. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to find the median from B to AC. So there are some keywords here that we got to remember. Okay, but just to kind of get you caught up with this is our goal for the rest of the class, is to find equations of these things. We're going to do 3 examples together. You're going to do 1 on your own, and then we're going to see what happens. All right. So here we go. Keyword, median. Okay, so when we're taking through this, we got to remember that I'm dealing with some keywords. And remember what a median is. A median goes way back to up here. Okay, where it is the segment, it's on the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So I'm looking for the vertex and the midpoint of the opposite sides. That's what I'm going to do from B to AC. So if I go back down here, I'm going to draw that in. So I want from B to AC. So that means somewhere in here, I'm going to have a midpoint, not sure where. I'm just going to eye it up right now because I didn't calculate it. And then I'm going to go from the vertex to there. So boom to boom. Actually, I'm going to switch the color on that. Let's go red. So I'm going to go right here. So that's what I want to find, the equation of that median. Okay, and just to kind of see it, we're going to highlight that thing. All right, so that is what I'm finding, that median. Okay. So what I want to do is find the equation. Okay, and remember, I need a few things. So I want to find the equation of that median. And that median, remember what it is. A median is, whoa, that's just didn't what I want to have happen. All right. So a median is from the vertex to midpoint of opposite side. That is what I want to find, okay? All right. So what I need to do is I need to find this midpoint over here. So I want to find that thing. And so that's just going to be the midpoint formula, okay? So what I want to do is I want to find the midpoint of AC. And so that is just going to go through the midpoint formula and making sure that we have that. All right. So the midpoint of AC, you guys should remember the midpoint formula. And that midpoint formula, remember, I'm using these points right here and here. So that's going to be 3 plus a negative 1 over 2. And it's going to be a 10 plus a negative 5 over 2. So these aren't perfect numbers, but this is going to be 1 and then 2.5. Okay. So that's what this midpoint is. Remember, this right here is the midpoint, okay? And that is going to be the point 1 and 2.5. So what a lot of kids do is they use the wrong points after a certain time, all right? Right now, I am done with these points. I don't need to use those anymore. So I'm not going to use those in my equation of that median. I've already used them to find what I needed. Now I'm done with them. So don't be the kid that falls into the trap and starts using these points for more information. Okay, I'm done with these 2 points now. Now I just want to focus on this point right here, and I want to focus on that point right there, because that's what I want to find, the equation of that line between those 2 points. Okay, and remember, the only thing I need for the equation of a line is a point and a slope. So there's a few things going on, but I just got to pay attention to, I have a point and I have a slope. So what I want to do is I want to find the slope of the median. So that is going to be right here, the slope of the median. And the slope of the median, remember, is just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's going to be a 5.5 over an 8. Now, if you're not a big fan of 5.5 divided by 8, you could also make it 55 over 80. Okay, it's going to be a little bit easier to work with. But now I have everything that I need to write the equation of that line. Okay, I have a point, I have a slope, and now I just go ahead and write the equation of the line. So I am going to go down here because I have a little room. Now the equation of the median. Remember, it is going to be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay. Remember the 2 things I need. I need a point and I need a slope. So there's 2 points that I could choose. I could choose 9.8 or I could choose 1 and 2.5. They both work because they're both on the line. So I just choose one. Doesn't matter which one, they're both on the line. So I could choose this one, I could choose this one, because I see that they're both on the line. All right, so anything like that. And the slope we calculated to be 55 over 80. So if I go ahead and write this out, I'm just going to choose 9.8 because, you know, I didn't have to calculate it. It was given to me. So if I choose the point 9.8, I'm going to get y minus 8 equals 55 over 80 times x minus 9. That is going to be the equation of the line that contains the median. Okay, so it's the equation of the line that contains the median from B to AC. Boom. Okay. But it's just kind of going over some things from first semester. We needed a point, we needed a slope, and now we just got to pay attention to what those point and slopes are and then work through it. All right. So I'm going to try and make it a little bit smaller so I can maybe put more of it on screen. I can't go too small. But this is just one example of finding the median. And this is no different than finding the equation of a line from algebra, from first semester, because what I really need to do is I need to find those 2 points. This point right here was given to me, where this point I had to calculate from the midpoint formula. So it's really just going through and knowing that once I have those 2 points, I can then find the slope, and then I can write the equation of the line. Okay, so it's just kind of going through those things. But remember, once I use these points on top and bottom to find the midpoint, then I'm done with them. I don't need to use them again. All right, so a lot of things going on. I will drop these notes into Schoology when we're all done, but this is just one example. I'm going to take this off screen, unless there's anything else that you got to see from it. And I am going to go to this example right here. So I'm going to drop it in. There we go. So I'm going to drop this in. Boom. We're going to make it a little bit bigger. Hopefully you guys can see that pretty good. And I think I'm going to move it over here. All right. So this is triangle RSQ. I'm going to write the letters a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see on your screen. This is R, and this is a -4, 3. This is S, and it is 0, 11. And then this is Q, and this is 14, -5, in case it's a little bit easier for you to see, hopefully, especially on whatever screens you're staring at. But what I want to do is I'm given this triangle, and I want to find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line that contains the altitude. Oh, wait, can't even spell altitude. All right. From, let's go Q to RS. All right, so now we are dealing with altitude, okay? So we're dealing with the altitude. So there's a few things. Whenever you have a keyword like this, know what it means, know where I can draw it in, know exactly how it's going to be relatable in the triangle, okay? So when I have this key phrase altitude, you could go back up to the notes and see that it is from the vertex and perpendicular to opposite side. All right, so that's what we have. It goes from a vertex and is perpendicular to the opposite side. So what I want you to do is I just want you to kind of draw it in, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out, boom, I'll make it red. So here is the vertex Q, okay? And I'm going to draw it in so it looks like it's perpendicular to this one, about right there. So this is it, okay? I'll highlight it so it's a little bit easier to see. All right, so there it is highlighted. And remember that it is perpendicular right here. All right, so it is perpendicular. And this right here is the altitude. And it came from the vertex Q, okay? So that's going to be my altitude. In this case, it is in the triangle. It could be outside the triangle. It's a little bit trickier to do that, but it's the same process. All right, now here's the thing. This down here, I don't know the point. So I don't know the point there. So I have no way of just knowing what that point is. It's not like that's a midpoint in the other example. If I go back up to this example, I could calculate this point because it was a midpoint, because that's what the median does. The median goes to the midpoint, but the altitude doesn't necessarily go to a midpoint. So I don't know what that point is. So I'm not going to be able to use these coordinates in the calculation. Okay. All right. But what I do know is I do know a few other things. Okay. Think about what we need. My equation of the line is going to be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And remember, I need a point and I need a slope. Well, the point that that red line goes through, I know is Q, okay? So the point that it goes through, I know this is going to be vertex Q, which is 14, -5, okay? So I know the point already that it goes through. So I know that it goes through the point Q. So right now when I'm writing my equation of the line, I know a point that I'm using in there. I don't know what this one is here, so I can't use it, but I can use the one that I originated from. The other thing to think about then is the slope. All I need to do is figure out slope now. And remember, there's a key phrase above it. Remember, the slope is perpendicular to RS. Remember, it's perpendicular. I can see right there. I got the little perpendicular symbol drawn in. So remember what perpendicular slope. It is going to be the negative reciprocal slope of RS. Because perpendicular slope means negative reciprocal. So that's bringing us back to the whole idea of first semester and perpendicular lines and then getting that in there. Okay. So what we're going to do then is let's just calculate the slope of RS. So if I take over here, I know that the slope of RS, and I can go through that slope formula. It's going to be 11 minus 3 over a 0 minus a negative 4. So that is 8 over 4. So that is 2. Okay. So the slope equals 2. And that's going to be the slope of RS. Okay. So all I did is I used the slope formula for R and S. Now what I want to do is I want to figure out the slope of the altitude. Remember, it's the negative reciprocal slope of 2, so that is going to be negative 1/2. So it's just figuring out what these slopes are. So here I have the slope is negative 1/2, and this is the important information to write the equation of the line. Just coloring for fun. All right, so that is going to be that. The slope of RS is going to be a negative 1/2. So now I have everything, okay? So now all I need is the information down here. Remember, my equation, oh, pickles. My equation is y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So that's going to be a y minus a negative 5 is going to be a negative 1/2 times x minus a 14. So you can write it as, oh, wait. So just make that a y plus 5. And then you can leave it like this. Remember, this is one way to leave it. A lot of kids like to write it as y equals mx plus b, which is totally cool. So if I did that, I would get y plus 5 equals negative 1/2 x plus 7. So y equals a negative 1/2 x plus 2. So either of these are acceptable. Just remember, if it is multiple choice, it'll be one or the other. But that is what we're doing in this example. We're just finding the altitude. All right, so I'm going to give you a second to catch up with notes there. I am going to throw these in Schoology just in case you want my notes printed out or if you missed something. All right, so you guys got everything? Can I take that off screen? I don't want to go too fast. We're cool. All right. So this is how to find the altitude. Okay, so remember the altitude, go up to the idea of the altitude up here. It's perpendicular from the vertex, and then we can figure out what we need. So the last one we've already done first semester, but now we're just going to take a look at it in a different setting. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add the third picture. Boom, 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 boom. And bam, right here. So I'll just throw it in up here. Hopefully I don't think I have to rewrite the numbers. This is a pretty decent size on your screens. Should be able to see those. All right. So here's what we got. Okay. There's the picture. Again, I am going to throw this in Schoology because I think it's a little bit easier to see. But what we're going to do is we want to find the equation of the line that contains the perpendicular bisector of ZM. Okay. All right. Perpendicular bisector. And we've already done this first semester, but it's just making sure that you can do this and get through all of it on your own. Okay. So remember what a perpendicular bisector is. So of ZM. So this means it's going to be perpendicular to ZM. And then it also passes through the midpoint of ZM, because that's what the phrase bisector means. Okay. So I'm going to do my best to draw it out here, and we're going to see if we can make it look halfway decent. But remember, all I'm doing is I'm going through ZM. So I got to go through some kind of midpoint. That pretty much looks like it's in the middle. And I need to be perpendicular to it. So let's kind of go right here. So remember, it goes through the midpoint. So I have these tick marks and I am perpendicular. So that's what I get. Okay. This right here is the perpendicular bisector of ZM. And what throws a lot of kids off is they get confused because now they start thinking altitude. They see perpendicular, they start thinking altitude. But a very important thing to know is I don't need this point up here for anything. Okay, that point Q is useless. Don't use it because I need to find the midpoint and I got to find the slopes. I'm not going to use Q for any of those calculations. Okay, so remember what you have here. Okay, always remember what the final goal of the question is. It is y minus y1 equals x minus x1 because that is the equation of the line. Okay, so that's the equation of a line. I'm going to use that. And remember, I need a point and I need a slope. The point is going to be the midpoint of ZM. Okay, it's going through that midpoint right there. So if I want to find the point, remember the midpoint. So I'm using negative 13.6 and negative 9.4. So the midpoint is going to be a negative 11.5. So negative 11.5, that's going to be the point. So my point is the midpoint, negative 11.5. Okay. So once we get that, remember the slope. Remember the slope is perpendicular to ZM. Okay. So if I'm going through this, the slope of ZM is going to equal a 6 minus a 4 over a negative 13 minus a negative 9. So that's going to be a 2 over a negative 4. So the slope of ZM is a negative 1/2. Okay. So the slope of ZM is a negative 1/2. That makes the perpendicular slope is going to be a 2. So it's really paying attention to everything you need. I want to be the perpendicular slope, so it's going to be a 2. And now I got everything. Write it out and be done. That is going to be it. So, kind of cruise through this one. Sorry for going a little fast, but there are a few different ways to write out this answer. Okay. So remember, I have everything I need. So if I plug it in, it's going to be a, whoa boy, don't want to do that. All right, so it's going to be a y minus a 5 equals a 2 times x minus a negative 11. So that's going to be a y minus a 5, 2x plus 11. Or if you solve for y, it's a 2x plus a 27. So this is a good answer, or this is a good answer. Either one is acceptable. Okay.